They told me about the story of my cousin who, when we were younger, for them, they grew up in the village. They were born in the village. And so he would wake up in the morning, I think he was like about 2 or 3 years, and he would just come to his mother and he would be like, Mama, and when he saw this thing, it used to make me so amused, because I was like, when you look at children from like Kampala and things like this, the child, you will never hear them asking for any food that is nutritious. It is always, I want gorillas, I want crisps, I want a cake, I want biscuits, I want this. And it's very hard for a child to come and be like, Mommy, I want a sweet potato, right? This is an updated video of boosting children's immunity. This is a question that I get almost all the time in the consult of, Doctor, my child doesn't want to eat. How can I boost their immunity? I am tired of having flus every time it's time for school. Now, as we're speaking about nutrition, this video has been sponsored by Nutri Uganda. And so this is Nutri Baby, and it goes straight from 6 months up to 36 months. 36 months, that is about 3 years of age in simple terms. So 6 months to 36 months, so 6 months to 3 years are good to qualify to be able to use this in their foods. This is a porridge that can be used at different intervals, for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner, for things like this. And the reason as why it's a good food is because it is fortified with a number of minerals, and it's able to add to the nutrition of the child and not take away. So there are 3 main tips. First of all, there's always nutrition, hydration, sleep, and another thing is allow the children to be exposed to organisms, and another thing is allow children to be children. Now, let me begin by saying this on nutrition. When you look at children from like Kampala and things like this, the child, you will never hear them asking for any food that is nutritious. It is always, I want gorillas, I want crisps, I want a cake, I want biscuits, I want this. And it's very hard for a child to come and be like, Mommy, I want a sweet potato today. But I think this comes entirely from what is it that you expose the child to right from the beginning. Another thing is what kind of nutrition is their palate used to. There's this pointer that's always important about how it is that you can introduce your child to foods, and that is things like when they're starting to just begin to teeth or things like that, you give them a carrot that they keep like nibbling on, so like a carrot, a cucumber, a celery stick. These types of things help in the growth of the teeth, but also it adapts the children to being able to the palate, to not having that taste that is exquisite, and you want things that are extremely sweetened, extremely modified, because it is difficult to outgrow, because we are adults and also as we're having difficulty. Now imagine for children who don't even know the purpose of the need to actually outgrow them. Another thing you need to know about is the fruits and vegetables that we feed our children, wholesome foods. If you teach your children, train them to be able to eat foods in their organic foods. But you see, by the time you're training your children, you yourself, you have to be trained. You can't be telling your child, eat sweet potatoes, eat Irish, eat fruits, and you're there eating fried porks, you're eating fried foods, you're in KFC, eat and out. It doesn't give an example to the children. And remember, children are do as I do. And children are do as I see. So that is it for how they are. Then, so the foods that we give them, the fruits, the vegetables, these are body building food. These are enriching to the immune system. The immune system loves them. They are filled with antioxidants. And also another thing that tends to help is that involve the children in the process of creating these foods. It can be messy, but involve them. There's a couple, a family actually called Shining with Plants, or Shine with Plants on YouTube. When I looked at them and how it is that they run their family affairs and their foods, I was like, oh my God. They are vegetarian, which I know that most Africans tend not to be, but it's okay. But the way that their system is, I think it's something which was very inspirational. And I was like, you know what? If you also want to look at how those things are done, look at them. I tend to like to share these videos, and even on my stories on Instagram, because I know the purpose of how it is that we can train our children before it is that we even have them. If you're not yet a parent, you aren't yet married, you aren't yet have your own family, these are some tips that can help us to be able to, in this world that's changing like this, at least keep some things in order. Another tip that's very helpful is tip number 2, that's hydration. It's important that your child is well hydrated, especially because children play a lot. They are very active. They get dehydrated quickly. So what you do is that keep them hydrated. Water is very good. You can give them juices, fruit juices, original fruit juices. But another thing you know about fruit juices is that it's always better that if they're taking them as smoothies, although they tend not to really want them, but at least the closest to the fruit it is as possible, it tends to be much, much, much more helpful. Things like canned sodas and whatnot, you already know that those are not helpful for their building building blocks. At best, they give them is energy. The other thing is sleep. It's important very much that your child is very well rested. Give them good sleep hours, let them sleep well. This helps in their growth and the boosting of their immunity. If you're trying to observe for hydration, look at their urine and look at their stool. If your child is constipated, hydrate them a bit more, give them better food. You don't need all these things that I need drugs to help the constipation. Not really. That is always in extreme cases, but when it comes to children, nutrition is the most important thing. If you look at the pee and the pee is extremely yellow, you know how dehydrated pee looks like. Feed them, give them a lot more to drink. And I'll keep saying this, allow the children to be exposed. Overly cleaning your children is not helping them, because they are children. The way the immune system works is that what you expose it to is what it gets sensitized to, and it's what it's able to fight against. So when we want the immune system to be at an optimal level, so allow the children to be exposed, allow them to be exposed to them. You don't have to now drench them in a storage tank or whatever, but no, allow them to be children. And tip number 5, and lastly and most importantly, is that nurture your children with love. Guide them, parent them, show them guidance, show them love, and correct them. Listen to them as well. Hear what it is that they have to say. This is one thing I like to say about in medicine, is that there's one thing that I learned a lot in medicine. It's that a patient gives you the diagnosis just from listening to them. Again, the same thing with children. When you listen to them, you get to hear their hearts, their minds. What is it that they think? What is it that they do? What is it that they do? And when they are wrong, correct them. Whatever methods it is that you want to use, the most important thing is to have children that are well rehabilitated in environment and able to survive, that know that their parents love them and care for them. And I think those are the 5 tips for the children. Class dismissed.